Today's reading is from Night Owl's Digital Shadows. It's my second van life thriller. Yeah. Made you tea. Want some? Cheers. Let's get right into it. I want you to watch it all the way through. Yeah. Train your mind to stick to something, you know. And I know a lot of you are really enjoying this. Not everybody. I don't think everybody's discovered it. Because it's not clickbait. I'm putting the actual title on it, that it's a book reading, you know. And some people go, ho-hum. Well, if you share this with somebody that you love, if you're enjoying it, then share it with a friend and a family member. Go ahead and hit share. I dare ya, okay? And I want you to leave a comment. Say, hi, Lee. Tell me a little bit about yourself, okay? And you can still watch the video while you're leaving comments. You can leave a bunch of comments if you want to, but you can still watch it while you're commenting. Well, please subscribe. Shall we get into it? Okay, I think I've hit all the points here. Okay. The Spider's Empty Web. John Harrison sat in his immaculate kitchen, scrolling through Amy's Facebook profile for the fourth time that day. Nothing new, no posts since she'd changed her status to on an adventure. His fingers drummed against the table with growing irritation. Adventure, he muttered to himself, his features twisting into something uglier in the privacy of his home. She can barely operate a microwave without help. Who does she think she's fooling? And in a van she bought with my money. The sound of a door opening upstairs made his face instantly transform. A pleasant smile appeared with practiced ease. Carly? Honey, are you heading out? Just going to meet Cindy for coffee, his daughter's voice called down. Oh, sweetie, you know caffeine makes your anxiety worse. John's voice dripped with manufactured concern. Why don't you stay home? I could make you some herbal tea, and we could look at those college applications again, together. A pause from upstairs. John could practically feel his daughter's hesitation, the subtle manipulation working his familiar magic. Dad, I told you, I'm taking a year to figure things out. John's smile vanished, replaced by a sneer he made sure wouldn't color his voice. Of course, dear. I just worry. You know how the job market is, and Cindy, well, she's not exactly motivated, is she? Remember how she dropped out of community college? The silence stretched longer this time. John waited, knowing the seeds of doubt he'd planted would bloom into compliance. Maybe you're right, Carly finally said. I should work on those applications. That's my smart girl. I'll bring you some tea. As Carly's footsteps retreated from the stairs, John's face darkened again. He pulled up his banking app, staring at the significant withdrawal Amy had made before disappearing. His fingers trembled with rage as he thought about her out there somewhere, spending his money, acting like she was some kind of free spirit. John was always fooling himself into thinking Amy was stealing his money. 3 years of my life managing her incompetence, he hissed at the screen, and she thinks she can drive off into the sunset. Upstairs, he heard Carly moving around her room. Good. At least he still had one person he could guide, help. That's what he was doing, helping. Everyone else just didn't understand how much they needed him. Opening his email, He drafted another message to his lawyer about the missing money, then deleted it. No, direct confrontation wouldn't work. Amy would just play the victim, like she always did. He needed to be smarter about this. His lips curled into a smile that never reached his eyes as he remembered his position as DMV supervisor. Amy thought she was so clever, but he knew her habits. A brand new Mercedes Sprinter van wouldn't be hard to track through the system. Tea time, he called up to Carly, his voice honey-sweet again. Let's talk about your future, sweetheart. You know Dad only wants what's best for you. As he prepared the tea, his mind churned with possibilities. Amy had mentioned something about Arizona in winter before she left. One of her stupid dreams he'd always dismissed. Now that detail seemed important. The kettle whistled, a piercing sound that matched the growing fury behind his perfect mask. He couldn't control Amy anymore, but he could control how this story ended. Upstairs, Carly waited, not knowing she was now her father's only outlet for the suffocating need to dominate that consumed John's days and nights. For now. John stood before his bedroom mirror, carefully analyzing his reflection as he poured his third glass of Pinot Noir. His hand was steady, years of practice, as the dark liquid swirled into the crystal stemware. He still had power at the DMV office, he was sure of it, especially with Tanya in records, who'd held the door for him twice today. Not like those little guys at work, he muttered to his reflection, adjusting his robe. At 60, he took pride in his careful maintenance, working out at the gym, buying nice clothes. The wine helped smooth the edges of remembering he wasn't 35 anymore, though he could still pass for it, couldn't he? The day at work had been particularly grating. That new guy, Brian, had questioned his filing system. The audacity. I've been running this office since before you got your driver's license, he snapped, enjoying how the younger man had shrunk back. The females in the office had smirked. They understood his authority, appreciated a man who knew his worth. His phone buzzed, another Facebook notification about Amy's adventure. The wine glass paused halfway to his lips. Living in a van, he sneered, taking a longer sip. She'll come crawling back when she needs help. But the thought didn't bring the satisfaction it should have. He topped off his glass. Down the hall, Carly's light was still on. John considered checking on her, making sure she was actually working on those applications and not texting that community college dropout again. The wine suggested otherwise. Tomorrow he could tighten that particular screw. Tomorrow. His nightly ritual continued. Check his dating apps. Women his age were so controlling. Setting his range on 35 to 55. Another glass of wine. Scroll through old photos where his jawline was sharper, back when Amy still showed proper appreciation. Their loss, he told his reflection, practicing the smile that still worked on the mail clerk at work. The wine bottle was empty now. Had he started a new one tonight? The days were beginning to blur together, but that was fine. He deserved to relax. Running an office, managing a household, keeping Carly on task. It was exhausting being so indispensable. His phone buzzed again. Not Amy this time. Just Kyle from work, asking if he had the quarterly reports. He smiled, taking too long to craft the perfect response. Professional, but hint-worthy. He still had it, obviously. The younger guys at work couldn't compete with his experience. his sophistication. The wine glass trembled slightly in John's hand as he opened his laptop. 11:47 p.m. Amy had ignored 6 texts today. He'd been counting. The Pinot Noir, his second bottle of the evening, suggested a new strategy. Ryan's email was still in his contacts from last Christmas dinner party. Such a nice boy. Always polite to his face. Unlike Amy, Ryan would respond. He'd understand why his mother needed to come home to him. The cursor blinked accusingly as he began typing. Dear Ryan, I hope this email finds you well. I'm very concerned about your mother's recent behavior. I'm sure you understand that this van life phase is completely out of character for her. She's not equipped for this kind of lifestyle. Has she contacted you? I'm worried because she made several large withdrawals from my account before leaving. I'm sure there's a reasonable explanation, but she won't respond to my messages. Perhaps she's told you where she's heading. I've always thought of you as a sensible one in the family. You must see how this behavior is affecting those who care about her. I've invested time in your mother's well-being, and this is how she repays me? Your mother needs structure, guidance. You know how she gets when left to her own devices. This is just another one of her impulsive decisions. Please, Ryan, if you know anything about her whereabouts, I need you to tell me. As her former partner, I have a right to know. Best regards, John. P.S. I still have some of her important paperwork here. She really should come get it in person. He read it over, the wine making his words blur slightly. Perfect. Concerned, but authoritative. Ryan would understand. He was smart, like him, not flighty like his mother. His fingers hovered over the send button as he took another sip. The room swayed pleasantly. Send, done. But now that he started, there was more to say. Another email. Ryan, I forgot to mention that your mother's behavior has been very erratic lately. I'm concerned about her mental state. Has she seemed unstable to you? As someone who cared for her all this time, I feel responsible. You understand that, don't you? A woman her age living in a van. It's not right. She needs to come home where people can keep an eye on her. Please respond as soon as you can. John. Send. The wine bottle was empty now. His thoughts turned darker as he stared at his inbox, willing it to show a response. A third email. Ryan, your mother stole from me. Do you understand that? I demand to know where she is. You can't protect her from this. She thinks she can just drive away in that ridiculous van that my money paid for. I will find her, with or without your help. John. Send. His head was spinning now. But there was a strange satisfaction in finally saying what he really thought. If you're helping her hide from me, you're just as bad as she is. I know she's going to Arizona. I'll find her myself. You're all going to regret this, John. Send. John sat back, the empty wine glass dangling from his fingers. Tomorrow, he'd regret these emails, maybe even try to laugh them off as a bad joke. But tonight, with the wine singing in his veins, it felt like victory. His phone lay silent on the desk. No text from Amy. No immediate response from Ryan. The room spun gently as he considered opening a third bottle. Down the hall, Carly's light was still on. John forgot she was home. Should check on her tomorrow. Everything can wait until tomorrow. He closed the laptop with more force than necessary and stumbled toward his bed. leaving the empty wine bottles on his desk like evidence of a crime. In the morning, he'd check his scent folder and feel a flash of horror. But for now, in the warm embrace of the wine, he'd shown them all. They'd respond. They had to. They'd see what happened when people ignored John. Time for bed, he announced to his reflection. Early meeting tomorrow. Though lately he'd found himself arriving later and later, enjoying how his staff tiptoed around his morning moods. Power took different forms, after all. He climbed into his king-size bed, never admitting how empty it felt, and reached for the sleeping pills just to help him drift off. Nothing like his coworker, Ed's addiction to anxiety medication. That was different. He was different. In the darkness, his phone's glow illuminated his face as he made one last check of Amy's profile. Tomorrow, he'd run another search on that van's registration. Tomorrow, he'd remind Carly about her future. Tomorrow, he'd show that guy at work how things were done properly. But tonight, in the warm embrace of wine and denial, John was still the bull of the pen, still the man who could control every aspect of his life. The fact that his kingdom was crumbling around him was something only the empty wine bottle knew. The sleeping pill kicked in, drawing the familiar veil over his consciousness. In his dreams, he was still 35, still turning the girls' heads, still holding all the strings. Reality could wait until morning. Do you like it? Yeah. It's just getting started with the characters. Now, this book also has very familiar characters, Blaine, Max, and Julia, and a whole bunch more. Yeah, they'll be going to a Quartzsite pretty soon, and they'll all mingle. Okay, so thank you for listening. I hope you enjoyed this. If you really do enjoy these readings, go ahead and share them with somebody. Please subscribe and give me a thumbs up and leave me a comment, okay? Tomorrow will be part four of I'm 72. I live in my minivan, and here's how. Okay, till tomorrow. Mwah.